Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's Season 9, Episode 5, and today we've got a massive crucial Premier League game against Tottenham as we look to try and guarantee European football next season. We're 2 points ahead of them at the moment for the final Europa League place, but if we lose today, we'll very much be doing the chasing. It's also the end of the January transfer window. There's not been too much to talk about, but we'll take you through the little bit of business that our Director of Football's done, although I warn you now it's not too exciting. We've also got some other interesting news off the pitch, some cup draw information, and a potential chance to make this league game irrelevant. So let's go and have a look at our schedule since the last episode. As I mentioned, it's been pretty decent overall. We're up in 6th place, obviously we're competing for those European spots. But much like real life this season, there's basically 2 divisions within the Premier League. The top 6 or 7 and then the rest of the division. Thankfully we're competing at the top end, but we've got more important things to worry about, as I'm sure you've noticed from this screen already. So firstly, we got through to the 4th round of the FA Cup. We drew against Ipswich and we've got a replay in midweek. If we get through that, we've got mid-table Leicester from the Premier League. That will be our 5th round tie in that one. We've drawn Fiorentina in the Europa League last 32. That could be a difficult tie. Where are they in Serie A? They're 10th place at the moment, but they've got some pretty valuable players. Did I just see a 58 million down there? Daniele Agostoni. Let's have a look at him, an attacking right winger. I'm not quite sure why he's worth 58 million. I think it might just be the extortionate wage he's on. He looks a very good player, but he's not quite that good. So I'm not as worried as I was, but it's not a tie I'm going to be able to play a backup team in. But more importantly than that, we've got a Carabao Cup final coming up. We beat Brighton over 2 legs in a semi, and Leeds, who we've drawn in the final, are a championship team. This is surely the chance we've been asking for to win a major trophy. We're never going to get one this easy again. We have to take advantage of this. Leeds actually played League One Portsmouth in the semi-final. Absolutely remarkable stuff after they knocked out Liverpool in the quarter-final at home. So I'm really looking forward to that one, which will obviously be the next episode. Our first major cup final and a chance to put a trophy in the cabinet. That's what this journeyman career is all about, picking up as many titles as possible. But let's go through the results since the last episode, where you were obviously with me for that brilliant Champions League game. If you haven't seen it yet, go back and check it out. It was a wonderful game of football and a very exciting and dramatic episode. But since then, we had a 2-1 win away to Brighton in the Premier League. Brian Barrett nicked it in the 92nd minute. We actually got outplayed in this one and we were pretty lucky to get over the line. I would have taken the point going into stoppage time. In fact, I think we turned on the time wasting, but fortunately we didn't need it as Barrett came to the rescue. We then won 2-0 at home to Chelsea in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. Daniel Arzani and Mason Greenwood getting the goals in that one. Chelsea were pretty toothless in truth and we were delighted to get through so comfortably. We then lost 4-0 at Liverpool in the Premier League. That was a really disappointing one and they absolutely outclassed us in fairness. And then on Boxing Day we won 2-0 away at West Ham. No Arzani from this point onwards as he's been away at the Asian Cup and has only just come back for this weekend. He's not in any condition to play a game, so we're not going to be able to see him until next Saturday against Burnley. But his replacement Adriano Lavinas got a goal in that one and that sealed a 2-0 win after Bernard gave us an early lead. And then 2 days later we won 3-0 at home to Millwall. Billy Gilmore with a brace after Florentin Bernard again gave us the lead. He's continued his good run in front of goal. We then won 4-0 at home to League 2 Macclesfield. That was in the FA Cup 3rd round. You can see a bit of a rotated side there. The likes of Sia and Mafluthi scoring, as well as the club captain Lascelles and youngster Valdir Ranzan. And that was followed by another 4-0 win, probably the best result and performance of the season. We went away to Brighton in the Carabao Cup semi-final, a few weeks after they'd run us close in the league, and we absolutely wiped the floor with them. 2 goals in the first 10 minutes, Mauro Oliveira proving he's a big game player yet again, and then Luiz and Bernard scoring a goal apiece to make the game out of sight before the start of the second leg. And then perhaps even more impressively, in the following game against Manchester City, we managed not to lose. It took a 91st minute equaliser from Mason Greenwood after Jesus got a brace against us again. But to not lose against this side is absolutely miraculous. I think they're up at the top again. Let me go back and check. It was them and United earlier in the season. We're just waiting for the Premier League to load. I have no idea why it's taking so long. It's a 2-horse race between United and City. Although Liverpool have a game in hand, they're not too far behind. But but their problem is they've still got an ageing squad with a lot of the players that are there in real life from the start of the series 9 years ago. So Manchester City are still as formidable as ever, and that was a really good result for us. We followed it up with 2 shocking ones though, a 0-0 draw away to Fulham. Again, Fulham were the better side. Declan Rice came off the bench and got injured, so we did play a few minutes with 10, but that had no bearing on the general performance as our defence had to be at their best. And then at home to Bristol City, we got absolutely outclassed. We had more shots than them, but Bristol City had the clear-cut ones. They've got the enigma that is Ronnie Lopez, who's been a bit of a kick in the teeth to us in every series at some point. Iheanacho and Mason Mount, 2 young players from real life that we'll recognise. They're established pros at Bristol City here. But thankfully after that we did get back to winning ways. A 1-0 home win in the second leg of the Cup semi-final, so 5-0 on aggregate. Lavinas got a goal to seal the win on the night. Iwobi picked up another knock to his hamstring. He's really struggled with injuries this year, and you can see a lot of young players played. The likes of Dave Casey from last year's youth intake, he made his debut for the club. Martin Chapman, Pablo Polanco, and plenty of others as well. Mauricio Zia, another one I can see there. And then we managed to hang on to our FA Cup place by the skin of our teeth the weekend after. Mauricio Zia with a late equaliser, Polanco missed a penalty, and Ipswich ran us really close despite being a lower league side. But in midweek before this one, we got back to winning ways in the Premier League after 3 games without a victory. Brian Barrett again with the winning goal. He's becoming somewhat of a first team player for us. In truth, it's a good job he stepped up, with Alex Iwobi's continuing injury problems, but we really needed a hero, and he's delivered that status on a number of occasions. So a really decent performance that one, but a narrow victory and 1 moment of magic was enough to get us the 3 points. So at home to Tottenham today, we're missing a few players still. Royce and Iwobi with their hamstring injuries, we mentioned both of them in the recent games, and in Nikolai Boylerson, he's almost out for the season now, after picking up a broken arm a month or so ago. For Tottenham, they're missing Richarlison, Castillo and Agate, but if we go and look at their team, they've still got the Ballon d'Or man. That's Horace Stewart. He was competing for it again this year. I'm not quite sure if he won it or not, as he's had a few injuries in the meantime. So let's have a look at him. He's worth £92 million on 275 grand a week, scoring at nearly 1 a game for England, over 1 in 2 for Tottenham. He's just doing everything perfectly, and he's absolutely world class. I'd love to manage him one day. He's only 24, so let's not rule it out, but I think it's a long way to go before we get an elite world super club. Quite interestingly, a lot of the super clubs we mentioned they replaced their managers in the summer. None of the jobs have really come up this year, and none of them are really in threat either. So it looks like everyone's either accepting a transition year or fighting towards the top as they're supposed to be. If we go and look at the very insecures, there's nothing above 4-star rating there. So there's teams that are at a sort of similar level to us, but in other leagues in Europe. So the likes of Sevilla and Udinese fall into that bracket. Olympiacos are a big club in their league, but we don't really want to go to the Greek Super League, not at this stage of our career. It's probably a slight step down in reputation, although it is a league I quite enjoy managing in. I just want to go and look at the insecures just to see if there's anyone special. There's 2 that have just popped over. So Atletico Madrid in Spain and AC Milan in Italy. They could be our next jobs. We'd love either of those, but we've got to win the Carabao Cup first, get our first trophy in the cabinet. We don't want to be known as the manager who never wins anything, but always overachieves. That's probably the sort of thing that would put these superpowers off when they're looking for a new manager. Finally, as promised, let's go and look at the tiny bit of transfer news since the last episode. One in that isn't going to feature in the first team at all. We said we needed a left back in this window, and I guess our director of football will say he delivered. Mark Lindo from Cardiff Met Uni. Lots of big clubs chasing him, and for the life of me I can't work out why. They might make a bit of a profit on him, but I'm not sure what he's doing playing for us. He's never going to reach the first team, and it's a very strange signing indeed. And then on the other side of things, we've got one who's gone out on loan, Mohamed Mathlouthi, the centre-half who scored against Mansfield. He was our 4th choice and not really getting any action, though we probably would have preferred our director of football to keep him. I know we're getting a bit of a loan fee, but now Declan Rice is out injured, we've really struggled a little bit. You've seen Dave Casey's played in a game or 2 since, and that's something that's not really going to be beneficial when we're competing in big games. Although they've both got the same potential, Mathlouthi's streets ahead in terms of his current development. He's obviously 2 or 3 years later down the line as well, so I'm a little bit sad he's gone, especially as he hasn't been replaced. But that's the beauty of this series. We've been left with a slightly small squad again, and we've just got to cope while trying to fight on four fronts. So let's get into this game against Tottenham. Obviously it's an important one as it stands. If we win the Carabao Cup, we can completely relax about the Premier League. We're probably not going to reach the top four now, and European football will then be secured. Our other route in after that point is obviously winning the Europa League, but that's going to be a very difficult task too. If we can get past Fiorentina, we might start to believe, but there's plenty of big teams left in the Cup. So we are slight favourites for this one, despite Tottenham having one of the best strikers in the world, although they have got a few injuries, but the same can be said about us. Jurgen Klopp remarkably is in charge there. We've not got much to choose from in terms of our squad. Arzani's just back from the Asian Cup as we mentioned, but he's unfortunately too tired to play. Iwobi and Royce are on their way back, but not fit enough for a place on the bench. Machilov, Chapman and Polanco, the only three who miss out on the squad. So today we've got David Raya in goal, Gomez and Lewis are the fullbacks with Konza and Yanderson in the middle as always. He's very much taken Lascelles' place this year, a little bit ahead of the planned schedule. Douglas Luiz is in the Segundo Volante role, with Gilmour as the deep line playmaker, and then Barrett, Ranzan and Lavinas, the three-men creative force, behind Bernard up front, who's been in really good form this year. Although we've not got the strongest bench we've ever had, the likes of Rivera, Oliveira and Greenwood are all still good players and can make a difference for us if we need a game changer. So let's get into the match and see if we can get a crucial result against Spurs. It's a 4-3-3 for Spurs, a familiar formation for them. Harry Kane out on the left wing. Seems to happen so much in FM. I'm not quite sure why. The only other ones there from real life, Dele Alli in midfield and Davison Sanchez at the back. They've got Lewis Cook, the Bournemouth player, in the holding role. And they've got Purby in the middle, who's a decent pro. And then obviously Horace Stewart, who's going to be the key man in this game. Let's go and tell the lads to prove a point. That's what our assistant Ante is recommending. Lots of the lads are motivated, so hopefully that'll work out well. Let's get into the first half then. Fingers crossed we can do something special, though I'm not too optimistic for this one. Spurs have made a resurgence since sacking Paul Le Guen, who went a couple of months ago. A core of the game gone. Remarkably, no highlights since the kick-off, though we have had a warning to say Yanderson's got pulled knee ligaments. Barrett's had a shot though, out of nowhere. Cracking effort with his left from the edge of the box, and a good save down to his right from the keeper to get it out towards Barrett again. Just wide enough that he couldn't hit it first time, and that prevented a goal with the rebound. Bernard's coming forward again though. He finds Lavinas, cuts inside to Ranzan, goes for a screamer from the edge, and a brilliant save by the Spurs keeper again. An in-swinging corner to be taken by Lavinas. Ranzan actually scored a great goal in the FA Cup tie. That was against League 2 Mansfield, but he almost recreated it today, but the Tottenham keeper's a little bit better. Gomez has got the ball on halfway, and the highlight ends as we were forced backwards by the Tottenham clearance. It's a free kick for Lavinas, 30 yards out, goes for the effort, brilliant save. Bernard forces another stupendous effort from the Tottenham keeper. He didn't know he was offside, but brilliant work from their keeper. They've got a free kick though, so it's irrelevant, although Gilmour's got another shot from the edge here, although that one's a bit easier for the keeper, straight at him in truth. A long kick downfield, straight to Yanderson who can start again. We've dominated this game. Spurs haven't had a shot at all in this match, and only about 40% possession. Konza goes long over the top, but is headed away by Spurs. Recchi are on the right hand side. As I said, they've created nothing. I'm sure they'll go and score now. Dele Alli from the edge of the box, and he has their first shot of the match, though he's dragged it wide of the post. It's a throw on the right. Joe Gomez will take. Into Ranzan. He brings it down brilliantly. Turns round two. Falls for Barrett on the rebound. He puts it in past the keeper. He even got a hand to that one, to be fair, but couldn't do enough to keep it out. And Brian Barrett gives us the lead to continue his brilliant scoring form. Has 3 goals in January, and hopefully this one will be a winner like the other two were. Here's Stewart though, coming straight back out as the Ballon d'Or winner. Beats Yanderson. That's ridiculous. That is an unbelievable goal. Straight from the kick-off, he runs round the whole team, dribbles past 3 or 4. Yanderson probably shouldn't have dived in, but that is unbelievable play, and that's why he's competing for the Ballon d'Or. 2 minutes to the break, and it's all level here. It's a throw on the left for Spurs though. Lazaro finds Stewart. We've got a warning to close him down. It's a bit late for that. Recchi with a shot in the box, and we've gone to sleep a little bit here. Spurs out of nowhere have suddenly had 6 shots. Bauer with a throw on the right. It's fallen to the right back. He comes forward to find Stewart. Douglas Douglas Luiz in heavy on him though, and now he's clear to Bernard on the left wing. He gets it inside to Ranzan. Lavinas and Luiz running off him. Luiz into the box. He puts it in the corner. Again the Spurs keeper gets a hand to it, but he can't do enough to keep it out. On a stroke of half time, we've retaken a lead. What a perfect time to score. And although it's not good news for the world of football, Horace Stewart has now got off injured. His moment of magic is the only thing that's caused us trouble, so surely we can go on to win this game now. Let's go and talk to the lads, tell them how we feel. We're going to tell them to prove a point. We don't want them to ease off at all now, otherwise Spurs are good enough to get back into it. Let's get into the second half and see if we can wrap this up. Surely with no Horace Stewart on, it will make things a little easier. I wonder who's playing up front for them. Someone called Robert. Harry Kane's still on the left wing. I find that really strange. It's a throw into Barrett on the left-hand side though. He beats one man. Tries to lay it in for Lavinas, but it's intercepted and gone all the way back to the Spurs keeper. Robert on the right-hand wing though. He finds Purby. Cuts it back out to Recchia. Recchia to Purby again. Tries to hook it round the corner, but it's overhit and straight through to Raya, who rolls it out for Yanderson. Can we build again from the back? Yanderson's forced back to Raya again. He clears long this time. Bernard gets up but loses out. Douglas Luiz wins the second ball though. Ranzan on the halfway line, charging down the right hand side. Bernard tries to get on the end of it, but he's headed away to Luiz. Bernard inside to Lavinas, goes for the shot first time, but it's straight at the Spurs keeper, who gathers it comfortably again. It's a free kick on the right for Spurs. Purby with the cross. Yanderson heads away as far as Ranzan. Here's Bernard on the left channel. It's a 4-on-3 if we can get the right ball into the box. Bernard to the back post. Sanchez heads away. Luiz finds Lavinas, but he puts it wide. We took just a little too long there to find the right pass. 10 minutes into the second half though, and we've started this period really well. It's a throw on the left for Spurs, nearly an hour on the clock. We'll think about subs in a minute, but we're getting loads of warnings to close people down, and we've just got to try and settle this game down a bit now. A third goal would be unbelievable, but it doesn't look like it's coming. Cook finds Bow the centre half. Purby to Cook again, and now Dele Alli in the middle of the pitch. He finds Kane cutting in from the left. Robert's challenged by Konza, and he can mop up comfortably. Yanderson to the right wing for Lavinas. Can we create a break again? We can't as Lewis Cook wins an early interception. Lavinas covers his mistake though. He goes and wins it back brilliantly, and now we can build from the back with Gomez. Spurs are pressing high. Hopefully they don't win it back, or we could be in a world of trouble there. Gomez gives up and goes long over the top. Finds Bernard in one-on-one. One straight ball over the top, and Bernard slides it past the keeper. He couldn't even get a hand on that one. Into the far corner. We lead 3-1, and surely it's game over. It's a throw on the left for Spurs. Gomez wins the header for Ranzan. Now we can counter at pace again. Bernard's playing on that last man. He's found by the pass, and he's put it in again. 4-1 now. Spurs are collapsing, and we are certainly going to be playing European football next year. Spurs look awful at the back, and although they've got Horace Stewart up front, who did brilliantly in the first half, he can't compete with this awful defence, who are really letting him down. Sanchez has the ball at the back. Lazaro to Kane, and now Dele Alli. He finds Robert the sub-striker. Beats two men, goes for the shot. Raya tips it wide at the post, and we will now make a sub. To be honest, it doesn't look like there's anyone worth taking off. For some reason it didn't pause the game there. Normally when you press make sub the game pauses, but this time it didn't. I presume the corner came to nothing as Spurs haven't scored and Luiz is mopping up from another counter. Lazaro on the left hand side. We'll give it a couple more minutes then, and then we'll just take off the most tired player. They've all played well, they don't deserve to come off, but Harry Kane's just scored a screamer. His 21st goal of the season, and no matter how old you get, you don't lose that ability. He's 33 now in game. Lavinas puts a free kick wide at the post, but Harry Kane with 20 goals a season. Some things never change. It's a corner for Spurs. Malcolm takes it. Robert up at the back post, but Konza wins it. Starting to get a little bit nervy now. After going 4-1 up, we've got arrogant, and Spurs are getting a route back into this. Malcolm shoots. He scored again, and now he's 4-3. What on earth is going on here? I should have made the subs when I saw it. We're going to tell the lads to concentrate and go and make some substitutions. I don't learn my lesson. We got arrogant too early against Schalke. We've done the same again today, and Spurs are right in this. Billy Gilmore's going to be replaced by Rivera, a central midfielder on defend. Lavinas replaced by Greenwood. He's been covering on the right wing a lot. And then we'll leave the third substitution just in case we need it towards the end. Let's get back into the game and see if we can hold on, having been 4-1 up and trying to throw the game away. Konza's having a poor game. He's now picked up a yellow card. We're going to take him off at the moment. I rarely change my defence in game, but Ranzan's in one-on-one. He could have won it for us there. He took too long though, and now we're getting caught out. Spurs on the counter. Kane on the left-hand side. It's a 4-on-4. Robert's in one-on-one. That is awful defending, and it's behind for a corner kick. Lewis has had a poor game, but we don't have a sub on the left. Konza's going to be replaced by Lascelles, and we're going to drop to 2 standard centre-halves. We're also going to drop Lewis. He's going to become a support role. We don't want him flying forward too much. And Barrett will become a standard winger. Something he prefers doing on the left anyway. Let's get back into the game. We really need to try and hold on now. Just 3 minutes to go, no further highlights. Gomez has got a throw on the right. If we see this highlight out, we're going to drop to standard just to try and keep our players a bit deeper. Bernard switches it to the left-hand side. Timmermans heads away, but only as far as Barrett. He's been forced backwards though. You don't want to lose it there. Lascelles goes back to the keeper and Raya will start again. He's charging out of defence, finds Janderson with a short pass. He goes all the way back again. The lad's in no real hurry to get it forward. Raya to Lascelles. Can we come forward this time? Barrett on the left-hand side to Bernard. He plays Ranzan in, tries to chip the keeper. What are you doing? Just lay it either side. We could have won the game in that moment. Let's drop to standard, or balanced as it is now. We're going to time waste all the time, slow the pace down and hold our shape when we win possession. No chance of us running forward now. We just want to make sure we see out the game. Let's get back into it, find out how much stoppage time there is. We'll press play again and find out we've got 4 minutes. As it stands, we're overtaking Arsenal, but if we let in a goal in this one, it will be absolutely sickening after being 4-1 up. Ranzan gets the ball out to Barrett on the left. A fifth would really make it easy. It could be 2 in a row. 2 episodes in a row we could have had a 5-3 scoreline there, but this one's been cleared and unfortunately it's not to be. Gomez with a throw on the right. He finds Ranzan. Now Greenwood, the substitute charging at the defence. Just keep the ball, son. We don't need to hurry. Louise finds Greenwood again. He cuts inside. For one of the first times recently we've looked really bad at the back. We saw it in the Champions League game. These lads really aren't great under pressure and they struggle to defend easy set pieces. A long ball forward by Spurs. Robert tries to get on the end of it, but the full-time whistle goes. We hang on for a narrow 4-3 victory, despite going 4-1 ahead and dominating the first hour. We were lucky in the sense that Horace Stewart got injured at half-time. He was really causing us problems and scored a magical goal in the first half. Harry Kane scored a special one himself in the second, but we cling on for 3 points and put a gap between us and Tottenham. Let's talk to the lads, tell them how well they've done. We're just going to praise them for their excellent effort. They've given us a 5-point cushion, and obviously if we win the Carabao Cup, that'll be irrelevant anyway. But we really want to push for the top 4. Champions League football's a hard thing to miss out on once you've been in there once. So there's our confirmation. We beat Tottenham in a thrilling encounter. It moves us up to 5th place in the league, narrowly ahead of Arsenal, but more importantly with a 5-point cushion to Tottenham, so we don't have to worry about who wins the FA Cup to try and get European football. It could all be irrelevant if we beat Leeds, the championship team in the cup final, but that's going to be the next episode as we go for our first major trophy. Probably the smallest of the 4 you can win in England, but it's a massive competition for us as a manager who's won nothing before. Our only other big cup final was the Northern Irish Cup final. That was with Dungannon Swifts back in season 1, shortly before we got sacked at the start of the following season. So this could be a momentous day for us. It will be our next episode. Leeds United in the Carabao Cup final, where we'll be heavy favourites to get our first trophy of the series. But that will be all for this episode. If you did enjoy it, please put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of that performance. Why were we suddenly so bad at the back? It's been both of the last 2 games on camera. In between that, aside from the Liverpool game, we've not been too bad at all. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories, this one The Head Coach, and then our One Club series with Torquay United, where we try to take them to the top of domestic and European football. But a massive thanks for watching and your continued support with the series. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time for our first major cup final of the series.